probably know by at this point, and if you're listening to this later, Paris was attacked in several places this week. It was on the 13th of November, which was Thursday, Wednesday?
Friday.
Okay.
Friday the 13th.
I'm bad. Oh, tell me that wasn't intentional. Anyway.
I don't think that extends to their culture.
Okay. It's like, really, that too? Really?
I doubt it was a nod to the Jason Voorhees series of movies.
Right now, I believe the death toll stands at 127, with 80 people in critical condition, where doctors are describing the situation as worse than what they saw in Afghanistan when they were stationed there. It's a bad time. It's never going to get better, I feel like sometimes. But
who took responsibility for this? Was it the atheists or the humanists?
I believe it was the Star Trek fans. No, it was ISIS. I actually thought, because given the geopolitics of Europe, I was expecting it to be homegrown. Turned out they did have some help from the inside, but it was in fact ISIS in response to, well, attacking ISIS and Syria and, trying to make the bad people go away, which is what all of that was about. And, so we've been watching the response. I mean, I'm a news junkie. When something like this happens, I just flip on the TV and it basically stays on for 48 hours. And I just listen to everything that comes in and try to integrate.
It's been very interesting listening to the different ways that this is being reflected in various forms of media, between social media, between international versus the sort of US, CBS, ABC, Fox News, CNN. And Sam, you've sort of flipped back and forth between those things. Yeah,
well, I want to make sure, to me, how the reason for these attacks, tactically, according to people who are experts on this stuff, is they want to create a separation between France's quote-unquote European population and France's quote-unquote Muslim population, even though they're all kind of Europeans because they live in Europe, is to create that split in order to basically recruit for them even more. And to listen to the way people talk about it as if this is the beginning of another holy war, which Hollande kind of got a little bit in that direction. It made me slightly uncomfortable. But then the president or prime minister or whatever France has.
Francois Hollande, president of France.
But then he kind of backed off from that a little bit in the rhetoric, and I felt a little bit more comfortable. But so I actually posted something on Facebook and on Twitter this week that I said, because just like last time, there's a hashtag that's going around. Last time it was Je suis Charlie. This week, it's Pray for Paris. And I'm like, man, if you're praying for Paris, you're not paying attention. You're really not. You're just not. And then, as usual, I get, well, why are you being divisive? Because this is a time when we should be acting in solidarity. You're like, are you kidding me? So something like this happens, you shove prayer in my face, and I'm the one being divisive? How about we focus on the hurt people? How about we focus on what's going on in the world and the fact that people are effectively using terror as a weapon, and we've got people out there who think that murder as a method of social control is a good idea, and we've got a country right now that treats rape like an interesting new national sport? Can we pay attention to that and a little bit about talking to some invisible thing in the sky? Now do you understand why I do what I do? Now do you understand why I talk the way I talk? So the thing is, there are two ways we can respond to this. This is the one way we should respond, which is foreign policy. Yeah, you don't meet the challenge. If you want them to fail, do not ostracize the Muslim communities in Europe. Do not. Do not point at them. Do not look. Do not make a thing out of it. Because that is exactly what the people who did this attack want. That is exactly what they're aiming for. That is the goal. That is the endpoint that they're hoping for. The other side of that is, if there were no Muslims to convert, it would be a self-solving problem. And that is exactly why sometimes I actually think being an atheist, or I do think being an atheist is a superior position. I'm just not going to convert you at the point of a gun. I'm going to do it here, talking to you, trying to convince you that it's a good idea through facts, through logic, through thinking, and through emotion. I'm not going to lie.
Well, if you need to win an argument with violence, you've already lost the argument, correct? If you need to be a terror state in order to bring people around to your position.
Yeah.
And losing this argument should mean that if you're a card-carrying member of ISIS, pretty much the entire Western world should be hunting your head at this point, I believe.
Yeah.
because these guys are insane.
They are. They are.
They are exporting their belief system at the end of a knife and a gun and a bomb. And I don't understand how many more attacks like this it's going to take to get the political will to take these people out. I don't. We have the technology and the troops.
Yeah.
And these are demonstrably horrible people.
Yeah.
Who want not just to control their area, they want the whole planet. These guys are Armageddon-believing nuts.
Yeah.
And the species is better off without their viral thinking.
Another online conversation I got into, relatedly, is I said this, and they go, well, it's more social disparity than, they did the social comment about why terrorism actually manages to find a foothold in places like France. And I didn't refute it, and I basically said, yeah, this was people killing people, not religion, but people made this religion, and they created a situation where social control via murder is a fine thing. So this is people, I agree. And praying isn't going to help. We can pray all we like. That isn't going to make the people undead. It isn't going to suck bullets out of bodies. Praying does nothing. Helping does something.
Being actively involved and awake and talking and sending money and doing things like that help.
So I said all of that, and then I followed it up with, but that's not a refutation of anything you said. I think we're both right here.
One of the things that I saw was, yes, people were saying, hey, pray for Paris or don't pray for Paris. It doesn't do anything. And I saw most recently, change your Facebook picture status for the French flag overlay to show your solidarity with France and the people of the victims of any terrorism. And then other people responding, does that do anything more than saying hashtag pray for Paris? And one thing that I think I'm generally with you, that prayer or the idea of putting the French colors over your face for a week or 3 weeks or a day or however long you wish, acts as a temporary salve to our emotions because we feel so helpless. But at the same time, when you do see that you are not alone in trying to have a sort of shared outlook that this is a bad thing, there's a tremendous amount of power that can go towards that.
The other side of that is changing your social media icon takes about 5 seconds, especially after somebody made that generator where you just say, make my Facebook picture this thing, and then it goes, okay, and you're done. And the other thing is, because it's social media, by its very nature, it's public, so it actually does something. This is what
communicates with another living being.
Exactly. Where praying is talking to nothing. It's literally talking to nothing.
What about the hashtag, though, Pray for Paris, that then shows and communicates that this is a matter of concern?
Now it's communicating that you think the best way to fight terrifying brainwashing is with slightly more subtle brainwashing.